Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Appreciate it as always. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Of course, we're going to shout out the 19 game one. Now, I know it's not official. It doesn't go in the records, in the record, one loss for the season, but finally this completely revamped, new look, title threat, Indiana Fever got on the court. Well, almost, right? Caitlin Clark didn't play today. They figured better safe than sorry with her leg. Again, look, we don't have a lot of details from I saw her warming up and so forth. My guess is she probably has something like a bruise, but for anyone who's had a real true bruise, they can be really, really painful. I don't know, maybe she caught a knee or something like that. And of course, if she's going to play this weekend, I think everybody sorry for those who went to that game to see Caitlin Clark, especially if it was your first opportunity. They probably figured, you know what, we've got a whole lot more games at Gamebridge. She's going back home to Iowa. She's got to play in that game, even if it's only 10 or 15 minutes. So I wanted to just go over some of my thoughts from the first preseason game. And I will start out by saying it doesn't mean a damn thing in terms of like the record and sometimes even how players perform. You can look at Major League Baseball, the NBA, NFL, all of that. But it is definitely nice to get the first one when you have so many new players, new coach, title aspirations, and your star player is sitting, right? You got an opportunity, Stephanie White got an opportunity to see a lot of different things. And again, with the revamped roster, the players got an opportunity to finally get on the court and play together against real competition. So it was really important in that aspect. The one thing you're not going to get, I'm going to give you some, hey, I think this was good. This maybe not so much, but I'm not going to give you insane praise or crash outs, which I saw a little on Twitter because again, I'm not going to put too much into one game. For example, Kelsey Mitchell was 0 for 9 in the first half. Okay, but it's again first preseason. I'm not like, oh my God, Kelsey, we've got to trade Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell has to be benched. By the way, I think she finished 4 of 17, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we're looking at it, right? I think 4 of 17. So she was 4 of 8 in the second half. She sort of recovered from that. But that stuff like that, not gonna be a big deal. So my takeaways, Sophie Cunningham. Uh, I'm sure I've talked about it at times. I'm a big Sophie Cunningham fan. She played most of last year injured. She had surgeries in the offseason, took care of herself. She's ready and healthy. I know the people who are detractors will look at her numbers like, oh, she only averaged 8 points. She only took, whatever. But there was a lot that went into that. There were the players that were around her in terms of, who was going to be targeted and get those opportunities. She was playing out of position. She was hurt. Sophie Cunningham is a much, much better player than I think a lot of people realize. They don't get back. They don't get past the TikToks and the blonde hair, but she can ball, folks. She can ball, and I thought Lexie Hull was fantastic as well. If we just roll through these numbers real quick, right? Lexie Hull came off the bench, ended up playing 31 minutes. Didn't shoot great, but she wasn't bad, and she had a lot of other things going on in her game. She played great defense. She was a good part of the offense in terms of moving the ball and so forth. Again, 3 of 11, but a lot of Bonner was only 1 for 8, an 0 for 4 and 3, and that's really I've said this before. That's not really not her game. She's not a great 3-point shooter. She can shoot them, and she should take some. I don't think they should be half of her shots. But again, first preseason game, no big deal. Of course, she was 7 of 7 for the line, so that helps. That helps out. And Tasha Howard was only 4 of 11. Boston was only 3 of 7. Kelsey Mitchell was only 4 of 17. Yet and Hull was only 3 of 11, and yet they won. But they absolutely nailed their free throws. They got to the free throw line a lot. And if I think they were, 20, I was gonna say 25 or 26, but they're 27 of 28, 96.4% from the line. As you can see with these did not plays, well, obviously Dantas, but Hall, and you looked at the minutes, right? Brown only got 13, Ejim only got 4, Timpson only got 7 at the end. Even Brianna Turner only played 12 minutes. Colson only got 15. I think part of that might have been because of how Sophie Cunningham was playing. She was amazing. Her and Lexie Hull plus 12 and plus 14. Nobody else is even close. Timpson was plus 7 at the end of the game. Brown was plus 5 at the end of the game. And I mean, Colson minus 15, Aaliyah Boston minus 12. So it was really interesting. You got to see Stephanie White got to take a chance to see what kind of rotations go together. One thing I think she got out of that was Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull together, right? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The blonde bombers. That's, I think, what we're going with. The actual Wonder Twins, because some people can't necessarily tell them apart. Sophie Cunningham usually has some type of undershirt or arm sleeve on there, if that helps, because they even got their hairstyles are similar. But anyway, but they look really, really good together. They have great chemistry on the court. They play very similar games, to be honest. The Sophie Cunningham's a little more fiery. Is that a word? She's got a little more of that Caitlin Clark demon in her than Lexie Hull does. But in terms of their intensity and their effort and how they play, it's absolutely, absolutely the same. So there's a lot of fire there. So they look really good together. But it was nice to see the emotion from other players like Duana Bonner. Man, she's 37. With her resume, she could walk through preseason, but she absolutely didn't. She is fired up. She is fired up to be here. There was an example where Sykes threw Sophie Cunningham to the ground, and right away Bonner was in her face, like, no, no, we're not doing that now. This year, that's not happening. You're not doing that to my teammates. So that was pretty awesome to see. And of course, Sophie came to her own defense when Kiki Alfin did it, threw Sophie Cunningham to the ground, and then laughed as if she's like Kennedy Carter. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on her. But Kiki, I can just tell you that is not a fight you want. That's not a fight you want, sweetie. Sophie is a longtime Taekwondo black belt, and I'm guessing she's a little crazy if you want to start throwing, but that's a bad idea. Side note on that, the other thing I got, and again, it's a preseason game, it's the first one, but early impression, because she also started, Sonia Salute Citron is my hot take. She's gonna be rookie of the year. What do you think of that? Sonia Citron is going to be rookie of the year. Lucy Olson didn't get many opportunities, but I do want to shout out. She had a really nice bucket in the first half. Um, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. We saw a little bit of the motion offense. I don't know how much they'll do of that with Caitlin Clark because that sort of takes away Caitlin Clark's big strength. Is her big strength is what she's a ball dominant player both for her own shots and for getting for getting teammates easy buckets. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes with Caitlin Clark. My question will be how long into the season before Sophie Cunningham is starting, because I think she should be a starter. So it's going to be interesting to see if Stephanie White makes that decision at some point. And hey, man, from what I saw from Lexie Hall, she's like, nah, I'm not losing out on my time that I earned last year halfway through the season. I'm staying on this court. Look, the half court defense looked decent for the most part. I think they did some really good things. And again, that type of stuff's taking time. Transition defense definitely needs some work. They got torched a number of times in transition, especially after fever buckets, it should never happen, right? That should only happen if the player on the other team is Caitlin Clark. So that definitely needs a lot of work. I think that is something Stephanie White will be getting into the film room and showing the players with her as well. But other thing I noticed with Sophie Cunningham is, and I saw this in some of the training camp footage as well, he seems to already be a vocal leader on this team, someone that they look to. I noticed a number of times in this game when the team got together for a huddle, it's Sophie Cunningham. The players, I mean, when it's not the coach, Sophie Cunningham was the one doing the talking. She was the one they were looking to and listening to. So that's really, really interesting because that type of dynamic and how that develops. Those things are important to teams. Okay. Um, but there was some great stuff. There was some great backdoor passes. Boston had a couple of fantastic passes. A backdoor bucket to Cunningham, and I think backside switch of the ball from the post to Lexie Hall in the corner for a three. Like I've said before, I've said it a million times. Aaliyah Boston does some things that drive me crazy, but she has some big pluses as well. And one of that is her basketball IQ, which translates really a lot of times into passing and easy buckets for teammates as opposed to something for herself. Ijim's had limited minutes. Unfortunately, I don't think they went well. She already is a long shot to make the team, so that kind of didn't go well for him. It's tough when you get very limited minutes, right? Like maybe the rooks and the free agents at the bottom of the roster will get a lot of minutes tomorrow and get an opportunity to show. Also, to point out Lexie Hall, I saw more from her, more variety in her offense in terms of things she did, more putting the ball onto the court, onto the floor, more getting into the paint. She even posted up one time and actually got off a really good shot with a nice move that unfortunately didn't fall. But I liked what I saw from her. Um, Stephanie White seems to have her moving more, even when it's not the traditional like the complete motion offense. Lexi Hall seems to be moving more in the half court, which is something Stephanie White's doing. So that was interesting to see, and I think that was a good sign. Michaela Timpson again, not a lot of time, right? 7 minutes, but she had a really nice bucket. That looked a lot like the one we got to see on film from the training camp video. If you check that out, she was active defensively. She gets up, and even when this is one thing a lot of people don't understand about some players. When you're always contesting shots, even if you're not getting blocks, it it has an effect on that offensive player. They're thinking about that. It affects them. It's going to lower the shooting percentage. There was, I think, one time where Sophie or maybe Lexie made a great effort in the corner one time to get a hand up on a three, and that three was missed. And you don't know how much impact that has, but it definitely affects shooters. The team as a whole, when Mara mentioned the defense, the team as a whole forced, I didn't actually count. So this is kind of in my head. So I could be off by one or two either way, but I believe they forced at least five shot clock violations. And maybe there are also one or two that weren't technically shot clock violations, but they forced a bad, hey, the shot clock's running out. I got to chuck this up type of situation. So, like I said, they had some really, really good moments in the defensive end in the half court. They also gave up some easy buckets, but again, I think that was things where it's stuff they're working on, right? They need to get together, they need to play. It's a whole new team, and they've got to figure out what teammates are doing so that they can not have the breakdowns. And so that's only going to get better. It looked overall pretty good. It's only going to get better as the season goes. Um, but the first half, man, the first half was rough. Like I said, I mean, Bonner was 0 for 4. Boston was 1 of 3. Colson was 0 of 2. Mitchell was 0 of 9. Yeah, so it was interesting. You basically had Cunningham and Hull who were 6 for 11 together. And I was gonna say they were the only pluses, but that's not true. Bonner was +1, Mitchell was +3. But look, for a first game, and then you factor in they didn't have Caitlin Clark. I'm gonna put it in the plus column overall. Like I said, I didn't see anything though I'd say, well, that's a negative and that's bad that isn't just fixable with more game time, more practice time, more of the players learning each other and just shaking off the rust. Right, but I saw a lot of positives that not just were good in today's game, but we're like, yeah, you know what? That's going to get better as the season goes along. That chemistry is going to get better. That understanding of the new offense and they ran a decent amount too, by the way. That new offense of when to do certain things is only going to improve. And keep in mind, this is not now they're young, and I'm not saying like they're a title contender or even a playoff threat, but the Mystics are not the Mystics of last year. It's a different team. It's a young team. I think they're going to be an exciting. I don't. Well, I'm iffy on the coach, but from the players they've got there, I think they're going to be an exciting team this year. But I'm going to leave it there. Like I said, overall, I thought it was enjoyable. It was interesting to see, not only to see a whole different team, but to see them actually play without Caitlin Clark. That was kind of interesting as well. And hey, Sophie Cunningham made it exciting. She got the crowd fired up at times. So yeah, it was interesting. I'm gonna guess there probably are some post game interviews and press conferences I haven't checked out yet, and I'm gonna guess it was interesting for some of the players like Bonner and Howard to play in that environment. Other than the couple of games they played against Clark last year, now they had those fans rooting for them as well. So that's definitely different. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there on this one. I appreciate you checking out this video as always. Caitlin Clark heads back to Iowa tomorrow. No air conditioning in Carver, but it'll be interesting to see Stephanie handles the minutes because for the most of this game, she basically went with her 8 or 9 players that would be playing other than Caitlin Clark, right? Rooks and those free agents toward the end didn't get much time really until till the end of the game. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know your thoughts on all this if you in the comments below. If you caught the game, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. 19. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you later.